Now to the FAA this morning, investigating the frightening plunge of a Southwest Airlines jet coming within 400 feet of the ocean.
Can I tell you what's on my mind? 'Cause I've been thinking about it for quite some time. Hey, can you give me a moment to declare my love? Can I tell you what's on my mind?
Howdy, everybody. I am RJ Smith, and this thing of ours is called Crazy News Reacts, where I scour the globe for the most insane, unbelievable, but craziest news videos there are to show you every day at midnight. If this is your first time here, thank you so very much. And if you are a returning subscriber, good on you. Hit that like and share it with your family. We are growing really quick, and when I hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to start doing the live stream. Today, I want to talk about emergencies in the air. Commercial airliners that have suffered ridiculous accidents and incidents that could have been prevented, and they have resulted in at least 100 deaths. So without further ado, let's jump right into it.
The crew managed to perform a last-second recovery, and thankfully, no one was injured. Still, another terrifying incident thousands of feet in the air.
This morning, the FAA investigating the moment a Southwest Boeing 737 MAX 8 flight came within 400 feet of slamming into the Pacific Ocean. The aircraft flying off the coast of Hawaii in April, when according to Bloomberg, it was forced to abandon a landing attempt on Kauai due to inclement weather.
Southwest 2786, stay firm this. Moderate to extreme precipitation, 11 o'clock to 10 miles.
The report citing a Southwest memo and stating the less experienced first officer inadvertently pushed forward on the control column, then cut the speed, causing the airplane to descend. When the warning alarms went off, the captain ordered the first officer to increase thrust. The plane then climbed aggressively at 8,500 feet per minute.
That was a very frightening scenario, but they were able to recover and land on the ground, saving hundreds of people. This next video is a smaller plane, but no less significant. This one actually fell out of the sky into the Pacific Ocean. Let's take a look.
This we want to show you is the kind of camera it was shot on. It's called a GoPro camera, and it is a remarkable video. Take a look. Those passengers don't know it yet, but they are seconds away from experiencing the worst fear of every air traveler. Suddenly, the alarm sounds. The plane is going down, spiraling into the ocean. A mad scramble as water fills the inside of the plane. Survivors going for the exits. Clinging to anything they can get their hands on.
Oh, you gotta put it on first before you put it. You have to put it on first. Everybody okay?
Throughout the 3-minute ordeal, Ferdinand Fuentes' camera never stops rolling, even as the plane begins to sink into the ocean.
It is that fifth time stop, and everything that you remembered in your past, your loved ones and everything, this, I didn't say goodbye to them. Your whole life just goes in front of you.
And we were remarking and watching the video, listening, how calm everyone was.
Not a
in
single
that.
scream,
No,
and
they were-
so methodical, all getting out in time.
Unfortunately, there was one fatality. The state's health department director was on board and was killed.
If you're on a commercial airplane, like this Air Asia story that's coming up next, this plane just out of nowhere hit an air pocket and dropped 20,000 feet straight down. People were praying. They thought their lives were over. And this is what happened.
Tonight here, a passenger plane plunging more than 20,000 feet in just minutes, oxygen masks dropping. Passengers then told to brace for impact. Here's Adrienne Bankert.
Terrifying moments as an Air Asia jet plummets. Oxygen masks drop as the cabin loses pressure.
The next minute, one of the stewardesses was running down the aisle screaming, "Put your belts on, put your belts on."
It happened just a half hour into a flight from Perth, Australia to Bali. The crew making an emergency descent, dropping from 34,000 feet to 10,000 feet in just minutes. Passengers sharing those horrifying moments and videos with Australia Channel 9. Many say they thought they were going to die.
I picked up my phone and sent a text message to my family, just hoping that they would get it.
Chris Jeans, who was reportedly planning to propose to his girlfriend in Bali, instead grabbing an oxygen mask and proposing right there. Those passengers returning safely to Perth, the airline apologizing, calling it a technical issue.
Now, terror in midair, a plane's engine coming apart just moments after taking off. Passengers terrified as they witnessed the fiery pieces of the engine. People on the ground watched as the debris began to rain down. ABC's Will Carr with the story.
Terror in the skies over Denver this morning.
Mayday, United 28.
United Airlines Flight 328 bound for Hawaii bursting into flames at 15,000 feet. Massive pieces of the metal falling into the neighborhoods below. The pilot forced to make an emergency landing, sending a mayday just minutes after takeoff.
United 328 heavy Mayday aircraft just experienced a engine failure, needed to turn immediately.
When I looked out the window, the engine was shaking really bad, and all of a sudden there was just a big boom, and the ring around the engine flew off.
Passengers on board rocked by what seemed to be an explosion from the right side of the aircraft.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened.
The plane was shaking pretty hard for it, and it didn't stop, and nobody really knew.
Onlookers watched in horror as plumes of smoke trailed the Boeing 777. Huge pieces of metal seemed falling from the sky.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was pretty scary. I'm just wondering, are all these people okay?
But incredibly, no one on the ground or the plane was hurt.
We kind of looked out the front window, and this great big piece just rolled right past the front window.
And just around the corner, we have a United flight from Maui to California that hit an air pocket and fell to just 800 feet before it miraculously was able to pull out of the descent. Now, 800 feet is about 2/3 of the height of the Empire State Building, which is 1,250 feet. Take a look right here to compare it. That's how close this plane came from crashing into the ocean. Let's check it out.
Tonight, new details of a serious close call, first reported by the Air Current, involving a United flight on December 18th in Hawaii. Climbing out of Maui, headed for San Francisco, the 777 suddenly went into an extreme, unexplained dive, more than 7,000 feet per minute. Flight Radar 24 shows the plane coming within 800 feet of slamming into the ocean before pulling out of the dive in an extreme climb, then continuing on. United tells NBC News after landing, the pilots filed the appropriate safety report. United coordinated with the FAA and union, the pilots receiving additional training. In Austin this month, another close call.
Southwest aboard. FedEx is on the go.
A FedEx plane forced to abort its landing to avoid colliding with a Southwest plane. And a serious close call at JFK Airport last month.
Delta 1943, cancel takeoff clearance.
Delta 1943 ordered to cancel takeoff after an American plane mistakenly taxied across the same runway. The American pilots have now been subpoenaed to appear before the NTSB investigators on Friday after originally declining the interview since it's audio recorded. Lorinda Ward is the NTSB's Chief of Air Carrier Investigations. At what point does the NTSB raise a red flag and say something here is amiss?
Well, that's why we do the investigations, is to see
if we do have a red thread that needs to be pulled.
The NTSB reports 82 so-called runway incursions or close calls since 2007, but no significant uptick lately. Still, a former FAA chief says there is cause for concern.
There's no seat in the cockpit for complacency. And I think it is a warning. I think it does call for action.
And Congress will demand answers this week as it holds hearings into that massive FAA computer failure that led to a nationwide ground stop.
And in a very similar incident, again, we have a Boeing 737 and again run by Southwest Airlines that plunged out of the sky, coming within just 500 feet of crashing and killing everyone aboard. Take a look.
Southwest plane, as it was landing in Oklahoma City, the jet dropping to just over 500 feet from the ground while it was still miles away from the airport. ABC's Morgan Norwood has more from New York.
The FAA is investigating another concerning incident on a Southwest Airlines flight after a plane appeared to come dangerously close to the ground, just 525 feet. This Ring camera video showing the plane flying dangerously low over a neighborhood in Yukon, Oklahoma, at one point just 625 feet above the local high school.
For some reason, they blew through an assigned altitude and continued and got very close to the ground.
You can see the plane climbing back to the sky after appearing to fly over homes near Oklahoma City, that neighborhood 9 miles from the airport. The plane should have been several thousand feet in the air. The Boeing 737 making its approach into the Oklahoma City airport just after midnight Wednesday. The drop triggering a low-altitude alarm to air traffic control, which contacted the cockpit.
Also 4069, low-altitude alert. You good out there?
The air traffic controller in the tower saved the day by telling them, check your altitude.
The plane landing just minutes later, but local residents flooded social media, saying they thought the plane was going to hit their homes.
They were descending over the prairie, so there was no lights, there were no visual reference. It was essentially descending over a black hole. So they were looking out at the lights of Oklahoma City, looking for the airport. And for some reason, they missed that assigned altitude.
This incident comes just days after we learned of another Southwest plane from Hawaii that came within just 400 feet of the ocean back in April. A memo revealing a newer first officer accidentally pushed forward the control column.
2786, affirmative, moderate to extreme precipitation, 11 o'clock to 10 miles.
That isn't absolutely bonkers, guys. I don't know what is. Air travel certainly seems like it is becoming less safe as we move into the future. With aging planes and Boeing losing steps on their safety record, air travel now is a roll of the dice. Just in 2024, there have been several major incidents, starting on June 2nd, when a Boeing 737-800 operated by United Airlines landed at Boston Logan International Airport after the crew reported flap issues. Oh boy. Just a few days later, on June 5th, there were two more incidents. One involving another Boeing 767-400 operated by United Airlines returned to Newark Liberty International after the crew reported a serious alarm. Then we have an Airbus operated by Qatar Airlines, which landed at Boston Logan International Airport after the crew reported hydraulic issues. Then on June 14th, another Boeing 737-800 operated by Sun Country Airlines landed at Spokane International Airport in Washington after the pilot reported engine issues. And just a couple days later, on June 17th, another Boeing, this time a 767, operated by Cargojet, returned to Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky International Airport after a panel fell off the plane. But I can't even say that was it, because the next day, on June 18th, another Southwest flight descended to a low altitude and wasn't aware of it until air traffic notified the pilot. But it continues. Just last week, June 20th, Piedmont and Frontier Airlines jets were both cleared at Philadelphia International Airport at the same time to land. Luckily, disaster was avoided. On the same day, a United Airlines flight, an Airbus 320, returned to Bradley International Airport in Connecticut it after the crew reported an abnormal noise. And just on June 24th, Republic Airlines Flight 3702 landed at Newark Liberty International Airport after the crew reported a cracked windshield. Oh, guys, that's just in June. I feel exhausted after this. So that's about it. Think about air travel before you get on the plane. Maybe even consider not getting on a Boeing, although Airbus is having their problems. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like and the subscribe so that when this psychopath right here uploads a new video, you will be notified automatically. And if you would like to buy me a cup of coffee on buymeacupofcoffee.com, the link is in the description of the channel. You guys know how much I love Starbucks. We'll see you right back here again tomorrow.